Hello and welcome to day 30 already. That's nearly a month. Well, it will be. Tomorrow will be 31 days is a complete month. 30 days could also be classed as a month. Indeed, actually, if we want to be so rational about this, 28 days is a month, February. So we're over a month, but not quite at a full month. I know what I'm talking about. I know that you don't, but I do. My brain knows what my mouth is trying to say. My mouth knows what my brain is thinking. It all works together. Sometimes it doesn't translate into common knowledge or common sense. Anyway, day 30. I hope you're keeping safe and that you have enough food in your cupboards and enough toilet rolls in your toilet. Now, as I come to day 31, which will be tomorrow, I have decided that I think these daily reflections have ran their course. I really do. It's that I'm equating myself with the government here. See, the government at some point will need to ease off the lockdown restrictions and slowly but gradually will need to return to some semblance of normality. Well, I'm doing the same. I'm doing the same. I have decided that tomorrow, day 31, will be the last of my daily reflections. Now, don't grieve, because you're not at that point. You will survive this. I hope I will. But after day 31, tomorrow, I'm going to stop daily broadcasting. I'm easing off. I'm lifting restrictions so that you're not obsessed or addicted to these ramblings, to this engagement. So you need to have a life and get out. No, you can't, can you? You can't really get out. Stick your head out the window. You need to stick your head out the window more, or if you're very fortunate and have a garden, get out into the garden, especially today. Today is a beautiful day. I'm hoping tomorrow, day 31, will also be beautiful. So, daily, I'm losing it. So, tomorrow, day 31, is the last of the daily reflections, but I'm thinking, I had a thought, that on Sundays, I will have weekly reflections. So I'm easing you into this. I'm weaning you off me. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm weaning you. I'm weaning you off. You've had me for 30 days constantly. And you could actually have me for more if you watch the repeats. If you go back to day 1 and start all over again. So what I'm doing, I'm weaning you. I'm giving you permission to stick your head out the window. Which means, well, this is not quite true. I was about to say it means that we might not get to the end of Mark's Gospel. But if lockdown continues for the next 6 months, and I'm doing weekly broadcasts, I could still work my way through Mark's Gospel. Isn't that fun? It's better than the TV, this, isn't it? So as you'll notice, if you've been paying attention and if you've been following me, and not just pausing me for the first 10 seconds and I've had enough of that. What I've been doing is I've been taking bits from Mark's Gospel. Apart from jumping to the very end, I'm really near the beginning. So today, this is 2 stories in one section. Mark, it's a good way to write a story. You introduce a character situation and then you change it to a different character situation. Then you go back to the first one. So it sounds a bit complicated. They were falling off. But just bear with me. So I'm in Mark. I'm not going to give a summary on yesterday. I thought yesterday just stood on its own, the reading and the wee reflection prayer. I liked it. I like a lot of the stuff that I do. I like it. I'm not saying that it doesn't bother me if you don't like it. That is important to me as well, but I like it. So that's uppermost. If I like it, I'm happy. And if you don't like it, you'll not be watching. Hello, my fans. Day 30. So I'm going to be looking at Mark chapter, what did I say? Chapter 5. And the two stories, it was only because I was reading it to see what they say and then my interpretation of it. Are you still following this?
Yes.
You still with me? Or have you switched off?
No.
So this section is the two stories. Jairus' daughter, that's one story. And you don't really need to know who Jairus is at this stage. Just a guy who was given a name. It's funny how some people in the Bible are given names and other people aren't. And here's a case in point. Jairus' daughter and the woman who touched Jesus' cloak. She's not given a name. I'm going to leave it. I have my own take on this, but I'm going to leave. That's your homework. Go and work it out. Why some people are given a name and other people aren't given a name. So here's the story. Chapter 5. I'll be up the screen. There it is. 21 to all the way to 42, but I'm only going to read the first half, and maybe tomorrow I might read the second half, or I might do something else. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. But tomorrow is the last of the daily reflections, so that it allows you to stick your head out the window. Is that not right?
I think you might be right.
Yeah. You want what?
I'm a fan. Where do I sign up?
You no. 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 Okay. So 20, I still haven't forgotten about the song I'm going to write. So, the soul song. Song. 21, chapter 5, 21, chapter 5, verse 21. Yeah. Jesus went back across to the other side of the lake, and there, at the lakeside, a large crowd gathered round him. Jairus, an official of the local synagogue, he arrived, and when he saw Jesus, he threw himself down at his feet and begged Jesus earnestly, "My little daughter is very ill. Please come and place your hands on her so that she will get well and live." Then Jesus started off with him. That's what it says here. Then Jesus started off with him. So many people were going along with Jesus that they were crowding him from every side. There was a woman who had suffered terribly from severe bleeding for 12 years. Even though she had been treated by many doctors, she had spent all her money, but instead of getting better, she got worse all the time. She had heard about Jesus, so she came in the crowd behind him, saying to herself, "If I just touch his clothes, I will get well." She touched his cloak, and her bleeding stopped at once. And she had the feeling inside herself that she was healed of all her trouble. At once Jesus knew that power had gone out of him, so he turned round in the crowd and asked, "Who touched my clothes?" His disciples answered, "You see how the people are crowding around you. Why do you ask, 'Who touched me?'" But Jesus kept looking round to see who had done it. The woman realized what had happened to her, so she came trembling with fear, knelt at his feet, and told him the whole truth. Jesus said to her, "My daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your trouble." So that's the first part of the two-part story. So we haven't touched on Jairus' daughter. And those of you that know this particular story will know exactly what happened with Jairus' daughter. Those of you that don't know the story and are coming to the Bible for the first time, you probably don't know what's going to happen. So you could find out by reading the rest of it. Or not. I could tell you. But the first part of the story is a really interesting story, and I could break it into 3 Presbyterian points. Presbyterians talk in three points, a 3-point sermon. First point, second point, third point, but here are 3 points. The first point is that Jesus, as I try to explain, is a healer. That's what Mark is making him out to be. Primarily, he is a healer and a teacher. The two go together, but the healing demonstrates his gift, and his teaching engages the people who are listening. So the two go together. So something in a crowd. So I've got this picture in my head. Remember I was saying the last time, you get a picture in your head. What kind of day is it? Is it in the morning? Is it in the afternoon? Is the sun shining? Is it raining? Can you hear the birds squawking? You can.
Yes.
So, large crowd gathering round Jesus, narrow streets, so people are squished, and there's bound to be some kind of rubbing against one another and bumping into one another, because you want to be close to Jesus, because he's probably, as he's walking, he's talking. So people that want to tune in, so they want to get to the front. So a woman touches him, and Jesus knew that something. If you give yourself to somebody, especially in the caring professions, that's nursing, doctors, social work, carers, anyone who gives of themselves to help another individual, they can be exhausted. Counsellors, therapists can feel emotionally exhausted when they are really giving part of themselves to another human being. And even though Jesus wasn't conscious that he was healing this woman, he felt something drain from him. As that's my first point, that every time, either consciously or unconsciously, he performed a healing act, he was drained of something, energy, spirituality, I don't know, but he just was physically drained of it. And if he was doing this all the time, he must have been emotionally and physically drained constantly. First thing. Second thing is that it tells you a wee bit about the disciples who turned round when he asked, "Who touched me?" The disciples turned round and said, "Everybody's crowding round you." That tells me how people can take others for granted. Here is a woman who is desperate. She's been ill for 12 years. She spent all her money, giving all her money to find this miraculous cure, which has never come about. So here is a woman who's absolutely desperate. She's had enough. I know, I did it. And she just wants healed. She just wants a life. She wants to live. She doesn't want to exist. She wants to live. And you'll know there's a huge difference between the two. So, yeah, but the disciples don't see her as a woman who's desperate. They just see her as a member of the crowd. And I think the other thing we can learn about this particular story, we're all important. We've all got issues. We've all got hang-ups. We've all got our troubles. We've all got our worries. We've all got our joys and our happiness and our gifts. Of course we have. But it's never to take someone else for granted. What's that old saying? And unless you walk in someone's shoes for 100 miles, you'll never know exactly what they're like. I don't fancy that, but I get what it's saying. We have no idea how another person is until, to follow that phrase, until we walk in their shoes. And the third thing is, I talked about Jairus' daughter. Jairus, the official at the synagogue, he's given a name, but the woman isn't. But at the end of it, Jesus claims her as one of his own. My daughter, your faith has made you well. From a nobody, she becomes a somebody. And that is incredibly important right throughout the Gospels. Jesus doesn't see anyone as a nobody, but he always sees everyone as a somebody. Somebody. I'm going to leave that with you. So tomorrow, custard cream's at hand. Tomorrow is the last of our daily reflections. Take care.